Good morning. Thank you for being here. We have a significant program planned for 2018 and want to share that with you today. For my piece of this, I kind of want to focus on this map over here. When you take a look at it, you're going to see projects that are going to improve the condition of our streets. They're going to add capacity to our transportation system. They're going to replace and rehabilitate our underground utilities, our water pipes, our sanitary sewer pipes, our storm drainage pipes, and then also projects that will upgrade our parks and recreation and other city facilities. You're going to see projects across the city on our major corridors that affect a lot of us every day. And then you're going to see projects that are right in front of people's houses or your houses that are going to affect only you. So first, I just want to state a couple things before I turn it over to Brad. It's also pothole season. And so we got crews out working 24 hours a day to get those potholes filled. And so I urge you, please call the pothole hotline, get them called into us, 367-8002, and the street team will get out there and get them fixed just as soon as we can. This map and a lot of other information is at our website at siouxfalls.org. And for a lot of our projects, we provide bi-weekly newsletters and updates via email. And so if you're looking at the map and you say, well, I live right here, there's a mill and overlay going on, please call us at 367-8601. We'll get you added to that specific email distribution group, and then you can get an update is easy on your phone, and you can open up and have a good update on how the project's progressing and what's coming up next. Today we're going to focus on our large projects that affect a lot of our major corridors and our large utilities. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brad Ludens, a principal engineer on our construction management team. But before that, I just want to thank everybody for their patience as we get through the 2018 construction season. And I'll thank you in advance for paying attention and slowing down in the construction zones. So with that, Brad Ludens.
All right, thank you, Chad. It's hard to believe we're talking about road construction season already with, was it, Galen, 3 to 5 inches of snow forecast for Friday, 4 inches. So I know last year on Louise Avenue we had to push some snow out of the way to get started on some of those parking lots, so hopefully the weather warms up, we won't need to do that again. But probably our flagship project for this year that I want to focus on is Ellis Road between 12th Street and 41st Street. We've got a phasing map over here to your right that kind of outlines what some of those phases are going to be for that project this year. But that's going to be a significant improvement to our transportation network on the west side of Sioux Falls. Ellis Road will be expanded to 4 lanes with a center median. We'll have turn lanes at the major intersections. We'll be doing upgrades to the underground utilities. We'll be doing some off-site stormwater detention. And we'll also be adding shared use paths for bicyclists and pedestrians along the corridor. That project is $12.2 million, so that's a significant investment that we're making for the residents on that side of Sioux Falls. We got T&R Contracting working on that one. We're planning on starting some grading work off the roadway as early as next week already. And then weather permitting, we'll close the first phase that last week of March. You'll be hearing more about that from us as we get closer and get that final date narrowed down. This project will be substantially complete and open to traffic by late this fall. Then we'll have to come back next spring and do some of the final restoration work. So this is our flagship project this year, and we're really excited to get that rural 2-lane roadway upgrade to urban standards and add some capacity on the west side of Sioux Falls. The next project I want to highlight is a neighborhood drainage improvement project, a very significant project. Any other year might be our flagship project, but this year I guess you might call it the second place one. 43rd and Terry is an area of town that we've had some drainage challenges in the past, and we're going to go in there and make some drainage improvements. We're going to be installing an underground detention facility in Marion Park, so Marion Park will be closed for the summer. But once we're done, we'll be making some improvements to that park. We'll be upsizing the drainage pipes in the rest of the neighborhood. And while we're in there, we're going to be doing some any needed upgrades to the underground utilities and reconstructing or milling and overlaying the neighborhood streets as they need. That's a $9.7 million project, and that project will last this summer. We'll get everything buttoned up for the winter, and then we'll have to finish up the project. We won't get done with that one until midsummer next year. So that's a very significant project in that southwest part of Sioux Falls to help address some of those drainage concerns down there. The next one I want to talk about is Arrowhead Parkway on the east side of Sioux Falls. This is one that is a joint project with the South Dakota DOT. We started last year. We reconstructed the intersection at Highline Avenue last year and got that completed and opened up to traffic for the winter. Starting the first week of April, we'll be getting back in there and working between Sycamore and Highline. So you'll see those lane closures starting up the first week of April. You've probably seen some crews out there working on some traffic signals already at Foss Avenue when the weather's been nice, but they'll continue doing that, but the lane closures won't happen until that first week of April. And that project will be substantially complete and open to traffic by the end of this year, and then we'll have to get back in there next year to do some of the final restoration, seeding, and that sort of stuff. Moving to the center part of town, 26 in Minnesota, that's an intersection that is a little rough, a little tired. The pavement's been in need of replacement for quite some time. We're going to get in there and reconstruct that intersection this year. There'll also be some ADA improvements and some concrete joint repairs that will happen on Minnesota Avenue outside the intersection, targeting the area between 22nd Street and 33rd Street. So you'll see some work all along that stretch of Minnesota Avenue this summer. And that's a $9.4 million project. Work will begin this spring. Or excuse me, that's not correct. It's a $3 million project. Work will begin this spring. And that will last through the year and be done by this fall. Moving to the northwest part of town, Madison Street and Louise Avenue. We're going to be expanding Madison Street to 5 lanes between Louise Avenue and the Big Sioux River, and then it'll be 4 lanes. So we'll widen it to 4 lanes over to Kiwanis. Then Louise Avenue will be widened to 3 lanes going north past Concrete Materials. We'll be doing underground utility work, and one of the fun things about this project is that we'll be adding a pedestrian bridge over the Big Sioux River. Right now, the pedestrian traffic, the bridge is wide enough for 4 lanes, so when we move the traffic over to that lane, right now that 4th lane is used for pedestrians, to get the pedestrians across the bridge. So we'll be adding a pedestrian bridge and a new connection to the bike trail right there for people to access the bike trail. That project will also be starting the first week of April, weather permitting, and we plan on getting Madison Street, the Madison Street portion of that work done by late July, so people can have access to that north entrance of the fairgrounds for the Sioux Empire Fair, and then final completion will be late this fall. And finally, the last project I want to highlight is up in the northeast part of town, Veterans Parkway. That's a project that we're working on with the DOT to basically make that final link up to I-90 to connect Veterans Parkway to I-90. So that'll be very significant for the city and for the region, and for that whole east side corridor on the east side of Sioux Falls. And it'll just be a continuation of what you've seen going to the south. We'll have 4 lanes with a raised median with landscaping in the middle. This is a 2-year project. It's going to it's a $55 million investment that the DOT is making on the east side of Sioux Falls. Includes the reconstruction of the exit 402 on I-90, and there's 5 different bridges that have to be constructed on that 1 mile segment or so. So that's a very major project for the state and for the city. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Huther for some closing remarks.
Thanks, Brian. Chad, thank you, and Brad, thank you as well. When I was nearing the end of my first campaign to serve you as mayor, I was driving down the street and I was coming upon River Road, and there was a woman over to the side of the road who had just hit a monster pothole there on River Road. She was a woman of African-American descent. I pulled over to see if I could help her. And she recognized me right away, and we had this great conversation. And I told her that if I was elected mayor, I was going to do something to try to, improve the quality of the roads, of the infrastructure of the city of Sioux Falls. Then I was elected mayor. What an honor! What a blessing for me and my family. And soon after I was elected, I made a change that was controversial in nature at the time. We moved some money that was in the budget that was scheduled for arterial road projects near the outskirts of town. We moved money from those projects to repair, rebuild, and replace roads within the inner core of our town, where people already were. No roads to nowhere, no bridges to nowhere, but instead focusing on these inner core roads that were in such dire need of repair. It was controversial because it was a change, and it certainly didn't make everybody happy. But I think it set the tone for what I wanted us to do as a city, and that was truly to invest in infrastructure, and whenever possible, invest in infrastructure on the inner core of our city, as well as invest in infrastructure not that we could see above the ground, but also pay some attention to what was under the ground as well. And then I'm driving down Western one day, and I get this call saying, Mayor Mike, we've got an emergency, and we need you to come down to City Hall right away. I flew like a bat out of heck to get down to City Hall, and there was a gentleman there by the name of Mark Cotter, our Public Works Director, who met me as I'm coming into the door. And it's not exact, but I think it's pretty close. Mark said, Mayor, we've got a real emergency. We've had a major sanitary sewer line collapse up by the prison, and we're at risk of having 25,000 homes with raw sewage in their basement. And it's called the sanitary sewage line collapse issue, right after I was elected mayor, and I about thought I was done. Again, I think it showed this dire need for us to invest in infrastructure, road repair, potholes, keeping things moving, as well as taking care of those things that were below the ground as well. Well, Sioux Falls, I am so happy to report we've made tremendous strides over the last 8 years. And in fact, you may not believe this, but we are nearing our 500th mile of road repair within the city of Sioux Falls in only 8 years. That's one heck of an investment in our roads, but then when you compound that with the hundreds of millions of dollars that we've invested into the stuff below the ground, these water lines, these sewer lines, these drainage lines that Chad talked about, that's just shows the level of magnitude that we actually really care about infrastructure, at least right now in the city of Sioux Falls. So on behalf of the 183,000 people that now live in the city of Sioux Falls, I just wanted to say thank you. First of all, to the investors, and those are the taxpayers within the city of Sioux Falls, those citizens that wanted to make it a priority, and yes, it is still a priority. But I also wanted to acknowledge those partners that have helped us repair these roads, repair these water lines, replace these roads, replace those water lines, sewage lines, and so much more. And certainly I want to thank the great employees of Public Works who've also played certainly a role with that. The people of Sioux Falls, I love orange barrels. The more, the merrier. And Chad, Brad, Galen, Mark, it's time. Let's get those dang orange barrels out. Let's get them out now, and let's make some good stuff happen when it comes to road repair and infrastructure repair in the city of Sioux Falls.